Man, what it do with it, world? It's your man's now, the Toothless Wonder, aka Foul Shot, reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network. I'll give a quick monologue and then I'll hop into the subject matter for the day. Because a lot of times, I really don't be having no content. I actually thought about going on Google and asking AI good content for YouTube, but I feel like that's cheating. You know what I'm saying? Then a lot of times I just be, moving and grooving how I move and groove, and I be having a whole lot of different thoughts in my head, epiphanies or whatever. So it's hard to kind of condense it into some like linear content. Um, and then what I do a lot of time, which like I'll listen to other brothers, and then I'll just end up giving my two, not that what I mean, like try to bite them or nothing, but I just try to, they might give me a topic of matter because I'm better in the flow of conversation, and then I just put my 2 cents on it. I think I've gotten better as far as just talking on a camera, as far as just the linear flow of my thoughts. Cause honestly, my thoughts be all over the place. Cause I got one of them analytical type minds. I just like analyzing the game. You know what I mean? But in reference to sometimes with all this going on, you know what I mean? The bombardment of the 24-hour news cycle, whatever you got going on in your personal life, it's easy to get lost in the sauce or to get distracted. You know what I'm saying? From the task at hand, right? So I said one of these prayers earlier on in my journey, like, because I am very empathetic, and I do want to have some type of social impact. Now, I don't know exactly how that relates scripturally here in Babylon, but then I'll be thinking on like some grand scale, right? But a lot of time, it be just the person you run into or whatever the case may be. And I know, especially when I was down, I mean down bad. I'm talking about like, I was like that man on Living Color with the pickle in the jar, talking about, I'm trying to told y'all, man, it's real in the battlefield. So I end up getting about like 13 seconds of his content, just to, whatever. But I actually watched the Genghis Khan joint, and if you subscribe to the channel or listen, you know what I'm talking about, right? So I was listening to Genghis Khan, and he was saying something about what was that man talking about? He was seeming very, he was like, oh, that's what the title was, Chosen Ones, I Love You, and You're Targeted. So I had to click on it because I knew he had dispelled like the monitoring experience talking points. So I'm like, man, what Cuz talking about, man? There's got to be he got to have an agenda with this one. So he's sitting in the car, such as myself, he real contrite. He's like, man, I love you guys, and he just talking, but he ended up, and I fast forwarded, but I guess he ended up spoofing or bringing satire to, I guess, the dude Trend Genius. I guess he had made a video like that or whatever the case may be. And by the end of it, he had did it was the fake out move, right? But he was saying, and he played a clip of Trend Genius where he was saying like, well, God put, I'm paraphrasing, because I didn't watch the Trend Genius video. He was basically saying how, like if you got an addiction or whatever, God takes you through that to, you know what I mean, so you can help someone else when you overcome the addiction, right? So, addiction and recovery is like, my claim to fame, right? I get the gist of what Trent was attempting to convey, but again, then, Ringo comes with his, reaction, you know what I mean? Basically saying, God chose you for addiction, that's stupid. God don't want you addicted, da 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 da. And I do get both talking points, right? But I said that to say this, I was just at the gas station and seen a former client that was, at the institution I used to work at, which I've talked about and covered on here, right? Now granted, prior to this trip of sustained sobriety, in March I'll be work Lord's will. I had 4 years, right? And my growth internally, mentally, spiritually has been exponential. I was looking more at, and I understand character building and all that, intellectually. But at the time, I'm like, man, child support don't care nothing about my character. The judge don't care nothing about my character. You know what I'm saying? The bill collector don't care nothing about my character. Like, you know what I'm saying? Again, he understood that I didn't understand that, so he walked me through it. That's why I had so many like vexings, because it was building character. It was building a reliance on him. It was building a greater level of humility, a greater level of faith, a greater level of submission. And I'm still on that road, just a little further down from where I started. But I seen a homie, like I said, a former client, and he was at the gas station. And when I rose up, he looked to be a little lighter, like in the weight wise, which is typical telltale sign. And kind of his mannerism, he's kind of acting like DMX a little bit. Not the man, you know what I'm saying? Because like I say, I'm the relapse king. Who am I to judge anybody in that particular sense? You know what I mean? So he asked me for a couple of dollars, which I didn't have no cash on me. And if he did, I just gave it to him off the love and just kept on about my business. But he was like, man, I gotta, you know what I mean? I just need some gas. So I was like, well, I can use my car for that. I'll bless you with some gas. He's like, all right, cuz. You know what I'm saying? And he had conversations with me, you know, when I was saying about, you know, things he's striving to do, and woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? So then when we was at the pump, then I seen it on the man. But he's like, yeah, man, I messed up, and you know what I mean, woo, woo, but I'm going to check back in. So I'm like, man, you preach to the choir, you know what I'm saying? And I understood where the brother was coming from. And gave him, you know, kind of my experience when I relapsed, what it felt like, what it looked like, the epiphanies I came to, and why I'm still clean and sober now in the midst of whatever life threw at me, you know what I mean? So he'd already, you know, as far as I would like to believe him that he was telling the truth, that he's going to check back in, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully nothing detrimental happens, praying to the Most High in between, you know, him now and then getting back into safety to again address his addiction issue, you know what I mean? But it felt good, and he thanked me, of course, you know what I'm saying? And he wasn't like on no trying to run game type tip, like he was real humble. And it just made me remember, you know, them times I was homeless, down bad, just need a couple of, I'm gonna use it for some beer or whatever. I ain't trying to run no game. I'm just hoping I can get some sympathy, you know what I'm saying? I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do. And I remember in a few instances, you know what I mean, like brother just showed love, and I kept on drinking, you know what I'm saying, but it was just enough to keep me going, you know what I mean, for somebody, even though I'm down bad by my own hand, for someone still to talk to me respectfully and treat me like a human being and give me some words of encouragement. You know, another thing I was thinking about how, you know, words have always been cheap, but at the same time, words are very powerful, you know, being able to plant a seed. And I was going back and thinking about the Genghis Khan video. Like I've tried to get skill trades and have gotten some. However, I haven't used them to, you know, make money or whatever the case may be. Because I truly believe that the very thing, like they say, your pain or your purpose is tied into your pain. As far as like just the understanding of the addict, you know, the failing, the things you have to overcome, which I would, you know, convey to brothers in personal conversations. That's outside of the curriculum of treatment. Like now I've come to understand you have recovery, which is getting off drugs and alcohol, and then you have the business of treatment, which are two polar opposite things. Recovery involves principles. The business of treatment don't care nothing about no principles. They just might tell you some principles to chime you in so they can bill your insurance. But just in a small way, it was a blessing to me to be able to bless someone else. Because a lot of time in the treatment world, they say, you know, you see somebody, let's say, digging in the trash or, I don't know, picking up cigarette butts off the ground or whatever the case may be. And instead of looking down on them, you remember when you used to do that. You understand? Here, and shout out to the SRBG, man. If you don't, I find his content very good, right? Again, you don't agree with everybody on everything, but, you know, my man Blue Hundo, I told y'all about, he taught me or helped me reiterate how to take the meat and spit out the bones, per se, you know what I mean? And he was talking about healing, which seemingly isn't in these industries, like the church, again, you know, hospitals, doctors, mental health. Healing, that they might talk about it, but it's not really there in application. Here's a telltale sign of someone who's healed. They can tell you all the stuff they've done and don't care nothing about what you think about it, because the version of them that did that don't exist no more. For if any man be in Christ, here's a new creation. Now, what's happening too is see, with me, it tends to go, I intellectualize stuff, and then it takes me a second to actually apply it on a consistent basis. But like with that verse I just stated, like that does reign true. So it gives the word more, yeah, it's powerful. What is the word I'm looking for? The word has taken on more of a part of my consciousness, if that makes any sense. Again, not to go into new agey stuff, right? I'm beginning to actually take the word literal without doubt of when he'll do certain stuff, which would be, for me, a greater level of faith. Like, oh, you promised this, but when is it going to happen? It'll happen when it get ready to happen. Let me just handle my business to the best of my ability and lead the rest to him. Which then goes into, you know, some of the stuff I talked about as far as I don't think we can get out of this. or come together en masse until God anoints us to do so. Because if we would be out of alignment, and we could say we did it on our own. When me, myself, I can't say I done did nothing. I watched a video from the YouTuber Jody T, who tells more of his like jail stories from a kind of funnier kind of way. But he just did a video 1 or 2 days ago breaking down, and I've seen him do like real like word spiritual type content from a brother who, you know, had tried to kill himself. He was sentenced to life at one point. He was in the GDs, left the GDs. He talks about when he finally gave up and what it felt like and the things he endured and the family he come from, and you know the living he's been able to make off of YouTube by basically telling his story in a humorous way and with his own fun way. And he was breaking down. He was like, man, it just hit me today, like how far he's brought me. And I've said this to myself, like if he'd have told me who I needed to be and how I need to operate, there's still no way I could have facilitated that intellectually. Okay, I want you to be stoic. Okay, I might just be mindful to be, but I don't know how to do that until he walked me down a path that he knew would have honed those attributes. I am vastly, and everybody know this, like I don't have to scream from the rooftop. I'm still me in the sense of like I've always been as far as like my personality, my interests, things of that nature. But I'm a totally different human being about how I operate, how I think, how I move, how I behave. You know, the principles, you know what I'm saying? That was all done. I forget how it actually translates, but the word actually talks about Yah being, among other titles, a master potter. And I said, man, you ain't never lie about that there. You ain't never lied. I couldn't even form, but it was in the affliction. It was in the denials and the delays and the, you know what I mean? Just like now, like, you know, people lose jobs and they lose their mind. I've been not had no job. I'm used to not having no job. So a job or any societal kind of position doesn't do anything for me. Again, I go back to Paul when he talked about if I'll boast in anything, I'll boast in my afflictions. For when I was weak, then I was strong. You know what I mean? I never realized how strong I was in my weakness because the strength wasn't coming from me. I remember one time I used to like walk around at night and like talk to myself or whatever, just trying to make senses, which it never did make no sense, right? And there were literally actually more days in a week than I actually made meals. And I would just walk around like with my music or whatever, just kind of processing stuff or whatever. And this particular, like I didn't get back to almost sunlight after I left out, like let's say 12 midnight or whatever, just walking. No particular, just walking. You know what I mean? And I had an epiphany. I said, yo, where am I getting the strength to do this? Because I ain't been eating like nothing. You know what I mean? Or the times I was homeless in the elements for 40 days, literally, and didn't go inside not one time. How I didn't die from hypothermia or something. Why didn't I, even though it might have wanted to, why didn't I lose my mind? I got one story for y'all. Whereas though I had an issue with some friends of mine, right? Now this was my fault, but I did it anyway, and then they kind of carried me. So I'm drinking, I'm drunk, I'm super drunk. And I'm like, man, I'm getting me some get back. You know what I mean? And I'm actually on the way to the get back. I'm locked and loaded. Like, yeah, and let the chips fall where they may. And ran into another homie on my path there. So he said, oh man, you should come over, cuz. You know what I mean? So we end up, going over, playing the game, smoking and drinking a little bit. And then his mom had got like some catering or something. Man, I ate all that food, man. It took all the gusto out of me. Man, I went to my little shed and went to sleep, yo. But that, just running into him stopped me from doing something that could have potentially not had me on YouTube right now. You know what I'm saying? Look, those divine appointments that are instrumental, but seemingly just haphazard. Like I was thinking about, we might look for these super duper blessings of, let's say, a financial windfall or just a totally new life. And I've been trying to push towards let's say operating in a new life or quote unquote manifesting, right? Not realizing, and it dawned on me, you're living a new life now. You know what I mean? The way I operate, the way I move, the freedom I have, ain't nobody plucking with me. And if they do, I got the ability to exit out my life pretty quickly. You know what I'm saying? Being a more responsible son, father, citizen, follower of Yeshua. Man, I'm nothing like nothing I used to be. So much so, even though I might look as far as like being healthier. Like people I used to deal with, they don't even recognize me no more. They're kind of apprehensive. I can kind of peep. They're kind of apprehensive, like almost, I don't want to say fearful, but like they don't know how to, because the things we used to, convey about or converse about and operate in, they just know without me telling them that ain't him no more. And the stuff I'm talking about, which I've been taught even when I was like, it's just, they just kind of still wherever they at with it. So I know what the words say, one man plants, another waters, but Yah gives the increase. So with the brother in question I seen at the gas station, I gave my Facebook information because I don't like talking on the phone. I'm the email text message king. And then, if we got to talk, we'll email, text to meet in person. But I hate holding the phone up to my head. It was just a blessing, man. That's why I think I'm getting funneled back into, that area of industry. Because it's the very thing that has given me my wisdom, which I never had previously. I might got some intellect in some areas or be able to, convey certain talking points. But typically, like I said before, me and wisdom don't go in the same sentence. Me and someone who, for the better part of 30 some odd years, had a hard time operating in society. Now I Manu Ginobili through society, smoothly on my way to the cup to finish at the rim. By stuff that's apparent to me with the spiritual eyeballs I've been given, that seem to trip everybody else up repeatedly. And it used to trip me up repeatedly. Like there's something in the I guess NAAA literature that talks about situations that used to perplex us. We know, how's it worded? We now know what to do with situations that used to baffle us. I don't know when I got that skill. You know what I mean? A lot of times with this, not just with a recovering addict, but I think we're all a recovering addict from something. It don't necessarily have to be drugs. It could be people pleasing. It could be vanity, greed, the opposite sex. We're all recovering addict from something. You know what I mean? But in reference to what Gangs Khan was talking about, sometimes I think about being like more like on the Fred Hampton type tip and woo. What about being Fred Hampton to those you come across? Because I'm more like ideologically wise. I'm on the liberation tip. I want to get free. Now, granted, I don't know, even with myself, maybe not physically free, like I'm still physically in captivity, but I've been given a freedom in the captivity. And I desire nothing else, almost, high on my value system. I want to see others free after I done escape. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I give them the real game. I teach them what does it look like? What does it mean when a clinician gives you all these $50 words in real time in the hood with my family dynamic and so on and so forth. So again, you can identify, recognize, and navigate. Because this is a walk. This ain't no marathon. You know what I'm saying? That's something else I had to come up off of. I'm in my mind, because I think I'm nice. I think I'm just supposed to hurry after shucking and jiving for decades. I just think I'm just supposed to put this master campaign together like Spartacus, and I assume the throne in 6 months. That's not reality, man. I guess that would be what the word consider vain imagination. That wasn't reality. Like I continually say, all the stuff that was vexing to me or had me frustrated, that I prayed for the Most High to get rid of, like Paul's thorn, is actually the thing that gave me the grace to be able to help somebody else. In this land where we see, the downtrodden, those discarded by society, have no voice. And everyone's picking at them for insurance money. You know what I'm saying? We're in the space in Babylon where they profit off your pain and suffering. You know what I mean? Like DMX said, all I know is pain. All I know is rain. How can I maintain with that on my brain? You know what I'm saying? It's real in the battlefield. But I'm almost to the gym. I just wanted to come through with a quick one. Really in reference to, we go through whatever. But trust and believe there's someone praying to get the situation, that got you frustrated. And with wisdom, let's be a blessing to others. Let's show compassion. Let's show some mercy. Because what I look like I said, I think I'm the king of grace and mercy. Man, I should have been dead about 3,000 times. You know what I'm saying? Easily. How I'm not gonna show nobody no grace? Or how I'm gonna look down on the next brother because he relapsed when previous to me getting a hold of you, you was the relapse king. You was like my man on life. Just can't get right, boss. He got a natural talent, but he just can't get right, boss. I'm almost to the gym, y'all, man. Y'all stay up out here. One love. Ooh!